So we're still at 0. Anybody around? This will be a different live stream tonight. Oh, I saw a heart. That must mean someone's there. We got one view. Average view duration 13. I guess that must mean that person left. I don't know, maybe the different title tonight is throwing off the YouTube algorithm. Nope, still here. Okay. I'll get two views. Oh, four. There we go. It's waking up now. 4 concurrent viewers. Yeah, so I might as well explain myself. So last week, actually it was almost immediately after the live stream, I noticed the lights flickered a bit, and that happens sometimes because the bulb doesn't connect right. But it sounded like there was something wrong with the electrical. So I thought, well, maybe the power is going to go out. And then I went and I turned on the kitchen light because I thought I'll just see if that one's flickering too, because if they're both flickering, then it's probably power. And it wasn't too long after I did that then the fire alarm went off, and sorry, a bunch of people making noise in the hallway. So I went out in, so the fire alarm went off. Then I was like, oh, this is probably real, because it's probably an electrical thing, because of I saw the lights flickering a bit. And so anyway, I got my keys and stuff, got ready to go out. What you're talking about? There was a fire in the apartment building. Fortunately, not my apartment, but it was actually the building manager, their apartment. So anyway, I went out in the hall, and I started to go down the stairwell because I thought there's not going to be it doesn't make any sense to go down the elevator because that's going to be totally crowded or not advisable in a real fire. And started going down the stairwell, and then I heard a bunch of really loud banging on the floor just above me. So I went up. I thought, maybe I'll figure out what it is. Maybe it's like just a cooking fire or something like that. So I went up. It was just a few steps to the next floor, and I opened the door to the hallway, and there was smoke in the hallway, up or against the ceiling, and one of the apartments, there was a bunch of smoke coming out of the top of that. Sorry, neighbors are being loud tonight, and so the noise I heard was the people upstairs banging on the guy's door just to see if he was there. 'Cause at that point, everyone in the hallway there was just kind of like looking at each other. We're like, is he here, or should we try to break down the door or something? And so, that was there was quite a bit of smoke born out of it. So it was an actual fire, and I wasn't sure what exactly, there was so much smoke pouring out of it. I was like, if there's someone in there, we got to get them out quick. Otherwise it's, it's not going to be good for them. So, I was like, but should we try to like break open the door or something? 'Cause that'll let more oxygen in, and it's bad. So anyway, I at that point, I'm sure probably other people have called 911, but I called 911, and I was just going to ask them like, hey, here's the situation. Do you want me to try and break open the door. And actually, I got put on hold, which is kind of funny. And then after I got through hold, went to the police dispatch, and because I didn't want to bother trying doing something if the fire department was already there. So I asked them if the fire department was already there, and they're like, "Oh, it's police dispatch. Let me transfer you." And by the time I got through to the fire people, the firefighter was actually there, and they could just deal with it. Which was actually the fire department's pretty they're very quick at getting here on site. It's pretty impressive. So yeah, that was the introduction to the fire. So, and I don't have the great audio set up here, but I'll just use the secondary microphone. Yeah, so normally I would talk about the work I did during the week, and this week I did absolutely no useful work. I accomplished on the regular stuff I do, block mining game, videos and stuff like that. I accomplished no meaningful work because the whole chaotic eviction fire situation here this week was just I didn't do any meaningful work. And of course, if any of you have checked the news in the last 2 hours, it seems like the whole world is in total chaos right now. Yeah, so let's. I've had weeks where I've done negative work. Yeah, this. This. You can definitely have weeks where you, break stuff, but this week was just so chaotic. I don't almost don't even remember. So the audio is not that important, but anyway, this is let me. So this is just outside my apartment. That was all the fire trucks outside. I just took a short clip of that. And then there's quite a few more. There was I've almost never seen so many police and fire before. And then this here is the outside of one of the apartments, where the fire was. It's a bunch of soot, and there's all kinds of soot in the hallway and stuff. And there's actually still water. This is a week. It was just after my stream last week that this happened. There's still water in the stairwell today. They haven't cleaned up the water. Yeah. So that is my entire. That is my entire week. Is the distraction from that. Yeah, we were all out evacuated until 1 a.m. and then there was so that was the first crazy event, and then as I mentioned in previous videos, if you've been following my stuff, I'm in a building where they're currently trying to renovate everybody. And I think it was maybe just last week they had another round of evictions. So I think it's over 50% of the building. They have there's like an outstanding eviction process that they're trying to. It's not necessarily an eviction order, but they received a notice that the landlord wants to get them out of the building so they can, supposedly renovate. But they're like these. It's basically just an excuse. They do like the cheapest possible. They call it like an open space renovation, but it's just a gimmick to get people out. So there's that situation, and then there's also we've been trying to organize a tenant community to get people informed about tenant rights and stuff like that, and share information and stick together and stuff to oppose the mass illegal eviction of everyone in this building. So we've been having some semi-regular tenant meetings, and during the last meeting, I significantly raised the temperature of the room and was fairly confrontational with one of the people who was there. So that was a tense point during the week, and at one point I was called a misogynist, and this woman asked me to leave, and I refused to leave. And but I think the later half of the meeting was fairly productive, but there was quite a bit of everyone was super tense, and everyone is just insanely stressed out because of the all the nonsense that's going on here. And there's just like every day there's new drama. They're starting to hand out notices now to anyone. They have these general inspections every once in a while where they come into our apartments and they look for unapproved appliances, which is like insane because our lease, my lease anyway, says it includes hydro, and if it includes hydro, realistically you should be able to run anything, and I think legally you can run anything that you can actually put in plug into the wall. But they're trying to argue that I think they're trying to say if you have a freezer or a air conditioner, then you have to pay them extra money. But it's all just it's nonsense to just try and squeeze a bit more money out of everyone. And yeah, so anyway, I've been working on interacting with tenants and some of the organizing stuff, and of course this, and just trying to get people in touch with information. And so yeah, that's basically, I did zero software development this week, and people wonder why why is the labor force productivity down? It's because if you get a software engineering degree, you it's like a full-time job now just to keep your apartment. You're doing something right when you hear someone call you a much. Oh yeah, that was amusing. She said that I was specifically. She said I was using misogynist language against her, and it was when I told her to calm down, and she said that was misogynist. So I'll let you do what you want with that information. Our house burned down after Father's Day. Wow, that's rough. That's a much worse week than mine. Yeah, fire is one of the things that's I'm pretty paranoid about. It's like it could just take everything away from you. Actually, after that, and the other thing that's not super clear to me yet is what exactly the cause of this fire was, because the new landlords of the building don't care at all about the well-being of the tenants. They really just want us out. So there's been no there's been the rumors that other people say are that the cause of the fire was an electrical fire in some way, but the question is that I have is like, what was the nature of the electrical fire? Was it in the electrical panel? So like, am I at risk of this fire? Or was it like, someone had a heater on, or like, not this time of year, but I don't know, something to do with like the air conditioner they had was like plugged in bad, or it was, an appliance that had a problem. And at this point, we have no idea. The landlord's given no information. Like, ideally, they should send out a letter and say, like, be careful about this or whatever. So anyway, I actually bought some separate battery-operated smoke detectors. So I put one smoke detector in my panel box just in case. So the regular alarm will probably catch anything, but this way I have like an early warning detection system. So if it does start to misbehave, then I'll have at least another couple minutes or so. Hydro is electricity for non-Ontarians out there. Oh yeah, that's I forgot that's yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I guess it's because most of our electricity comes from hydropower, so we just stuck to that phrase. Yeah, I agree. It does sound cooler than electricity. Most of hydro is nuclear. Interesting. Yeah, I guess it's probably is these days. I swear, residential property rental is such a scam. Yeah, it basically is becoming a scam. I mean, our the rental crisis, the real estate crisis here is getting kind of insane. There's like, we need to build more housing, but yeah, it's a like, is another fire imminent? Kind of helpful to have clarification. Yeah, that's exactly what my point is, and there's been that's one of the points that I raised at the tenant meetings. But there's not like, a lot of the tenants are kind of elderly, and there's not many. There's, I think, only a couple like engineering people in the building. But yeah, this is taking up pretty much all my time and thought process this week, and I just did I set up like a website for the tenants to get them to just get out some access to information. So, and I've been I guess the fire was a big kind of, everyone wanted information on that, so I put up like a basic description of what happened and stuff like that, and because I'm like right beside it, happened just above me, so I happened to get the pictures to document the whole thing. So I set those up, and there's been a few people in the building messaging me, and interestingly, I've actually found that I actually started getting a couple messages from people in other buildings who are being renovated by the same landlord, and so it seems like this landlord is like buying up massive amounts of properties, and just like their formula is like immediately renovate everyone. It would be kind of nice if the government would like step in and do something about this, because it's like, on one hand you can say, oh, you know what, you're paying so much below market rate, you can't expect this. But even if I do just move somewhere and pay higher rent, this is disruptive to my life to to pack up everything and move. And I talked to someone else in the elevator, and they said the reason that they moved in here, they had just moved in here, was because somewhere else they wanted to jack up the rent, and so they had a previous apartment, they lost that, and then they came here, and I presume they're paying more here, but now they're dealing with the same chaos that we are. So it's like, it's not just about paying the money to rent a place. Like, having peace is starting to get less and less of a thing. And of course, that coupled with the general chaos of the world. So have you guys checked the news in the last few hours? Took about an hour for the exterior fire to breach the building. Then a dozen alarms were going off. Was it the fire you had? Was it a wildfire? Sounds ludicrous. Sorry, man. What a load of unnecessary anxiety on top of standard life. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, everyone seems to be in some like their own mini chaos right now. I think. I mean, in a way, it's like there's a certain like excitement to having like stuff, drama and this like interesting new stuff happening, but yeah, at the same time, I mean, so this week I did like basically no activity that is related to making money, and it's mainly just like survival stuff related to trying to interact with tenants in the building and get a bit organized. And actually, that's not completely true. I did do I think like 1 month of balancing my my credit card account. This is some tax preparation stuff for which is coming up soon. Yeah, so the news. Hope things don't get too bad. Things are. I think there's going to be like multiple systems that are going to crack. Like the political landscape. That's its own. Like the political situation has nothing to do with my rental crisis, but in a way, they actually kind of do, because the root cause is just accumulating debts in the economy, and the whole like macro economic cycle is. I think we're maybe hopefully we're in the later stages of like a downturn, but it's I guess the business cycle is really I think the underlying thing. When the business cycle is really bad, then there's all these like weird unrelated things happening. And I mean, if you go back in time and look at like when wars started, there would be like 5 different things that have nothing to do with each other that are all like really bad at once. That is definitely going to solidify a win for Trump now that he's a martyr. Yeah, does anyone know more about that? Because I tried to find like what happened, like what exact injury he had, and it looked like it just like grazed his ear. That's like insanely lucky. I mean, a couple inches one way or the other, then things would be a lot different. I actually feel the need to vote for Trump, even though I have libertarian leanings. Yeah, I mean, of course I'm in Canada, but I think people now would just want to vote for anything that will like disrupt the status quo. I mean, after the last election, I thought it was pretty unlikely that he would ever. I thought he was basically finished, and that he wouldn't even get to like be a contestant for the next election. But then Joe Biden is just. I mean, I don't even think it's I want to keep my software, my channel about software, but like I almost feel it's like not even political to point out that Joe Biden is just so like even people in his own party are like, man, he needs to drop out. We're gonna lose with him. I don't understand why they picked Biden. Like they could have. If they just pick anyone younger, then I think they'd have such a better chance. No, it started from an abandoned building adjacent. Oh. Yeah, I guess that's even worse, because you wouldn't have any kind of warning. At least in a wildfire, you'd maybe be able to, get rid of, go spray a garden hose on some of the Oh, the chat just messed up. Trump should lose. Otherwise, America will lose a lot, especially, first of all, democracy. I think the best solution would be if everyone loses. I think if there was just something else happens. I also looked at something that confuses me. I looked at the polls. I don't really understand how they could be calculated, but it seems like what I see in the polls, there's like what is it, 538 or something. Immediately after the debate, like it was unanimous. Everyone was like, "Wow, Biden did terrible," and I think some people are saying he has like 37% approval. But then when I look at the polls, they didn't actually drop that much. It was still pretty close to like Trump Biden, like around 48% or something. But they've been trending down a couple points. I just don't understand how that's possible. There's so many things politically and economically that I think that this just doesn't make sense. It can't be sustainable, but then it is. Let's see what else other than so we covered fire, we covered the misogynistic language that I used, and of course the mass evictions, which are apparently getting out of control. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned before, but even for looking for a paralegal, I found it's actually it's starting to get hard to find a paralegal that will take on tenants, and a bunch of them are saying, like, due to high volume, we only accept landlords now, which is kind of an insane thing. Homers into bushes. You're talking about the meme? Not sure what you mean in this context. I was going to ask about tenant legal services. The U.S. has some, but not ideal. Wasn't sure if Canada had anything. I guess, there's lawyers everywhere for various things. Oh, I was homering from the politics. Yeah, politics. I don't know. There's not much new I could say on that, other than that's a won't even continue to go there. I was a bit late getting started because you may notice I am not using Fedora anymore. I decided to quickly install Ubuntu on this laptop again, just because I was going to play the videos, and I tried them out on Fedora, and it did not work at all. And then I downloaded I found I couldn't install VLC without downloading these like weird third-party packages from I don't know where, and then when I did get some kind of H.264 decoder installed, and Fedora was just incredibly laggy. It was so bad it wouldn't even like play the video. It would play like one frame every 5 seconds. I don't really like Fedora. I think actually Fedora was the first Linux that I tried, like many years ago, and then I've tried it a couple times since then, but it's not. It's just not. I don't know. It's odd. I don't like it. It's kind of. It seems quite slow compared to Ubuntu. Ontario was really nice before 2016. Yeah, I think you're right about that. It was 2015 or so. Seems to be that was the when the downfall started, and then COVID happened, and then it went off a cliff, and then we printed mass amounts of money, and then it was pretty good for a while when there was just infinite free money, but then the money dried up, and now we have runaway inflation. Switch from Fedora to Mint. Slackware 97 for me. Some free BSD, Red Hat. Slackware, I've heard of that. I don't never experimented with it at all. I find Fedora a little too restrictive. It would be a really good if you wanted to run a large organization and have good admin control. Not as good for personal use. Yeah, that's actually the vibe that I get. That kind of makes sense because the other time I used Fedora was when I was at NVIDIA. That was what they used for my desktop. And of course, the reason I was using Fedora on this one was because I was making the two Linux shorts about SE Linux. And SE Linux is my experience with SE Linux. Like I thought it was like an alternative to AppArmor or something, and I guess it kind of is. But SE Linux is like super. It's like very granular. It almost makes me think of like every little thing, every little operation that a program can do has its own little permission, and like including like putting something in a memory, loading a library, and the fact that different types of files and there's different like labels to categorize stuff you might want to do, and having those all together like in an integrated permission set, it almost does. In some of the videos I watched on how to use SE Linux, I remember one of the things they would always say is that if you have a policy violation with SE Linux, it either means you configured the policy incorrectly, or it means you're compromised. And the impression I got with SE Linux is it's not only designed for the security aspect, but it's also designed for detecting compromises, and so if you have like a really specific thing that you want to run over and over again, like on a personal computer, it's a general purpose thing for like anything. Like every day that you wake up and use the computer, you're using it for something different. You're looking at a different website. You're downloading stuff for editing Word files or whatever. But on a really locked down system, what you'll do, and what you can do with SE Linux is you will like do something, and then empirically. You can basically empirically build a list of the permissions you need in order to, so you can set SE Linux to permissive mode, where it like doesn't enforce the rules, but it does log all the violations. So then what you do is you, a web server, you'd like set up the web server, you'd access, go through your access routines, and then you get a whole bunch of policy violations, and then after that, you use those policy violations to create the rule set that will then be enforced. And so then it's like you have an empirical set of rules. So you're getting like the minimum set of permissions you need to do that thing, and then any additional so if you set up that web server and you run it for like, a year, and you have a couple of policy violations out of the blue, then you say, oh, that's really weird. Either the program is trying to do something it's never tried before, there's some some rare code branch executing that doesn't usually execute, or there's a compromise. It's actually really interesting. Yeah, I thought it was that was one of the things that really made a good impression on me. If I had infinite time, it's something I'd go back to and do a little bit more. I think there are a few videos on SE Linux, but there's really not much content on it. And I get the feeling that it's probably most of the people who really know how to use SE Linux very well work at companies where they very much frown upon people making YouTube videos, and they I remember even when I was at Amazon, the security, they really wanted everything super secure, and they didn't want people leaking stuff. And so probably most of the people who would be able to make videos or content about it, either they simultaneously don't have time, and they're kind of weary about putting that out there. Sad trombone. So I'm not sure what else to go over tonight. I don't have the block mining simulator on installed on here today. It took me like over an hour to get set up. No, I didn't have any water damage. Fortunately, there was like that video. Yeah, that's like literally right outside my apartment. The whole hall was like completely wet eventually, but fortunately it kind of just stayed in the hall, and I checked the closet, and it was didn't seem to have any damage. So, and surprisingly, the guy who was under it, he didn't have any issues either. He did say he had he did notice a little bit of running down the walls, but otherwise, for how much water they would have put in there, and I'm kind of surprised that how minimal the water damage was. I guess the buildings are designed for it's supposed to run out into the down the stairwell. Crazy how much damage the aftermath of resolving a fire causes. Yeah, it's a serious operation. You can tell how. I mean, it's kind of jarring how like no nonsense the firefighters are. They just come in and they're like, we'll just hook this up and spray water all over the place, because it makes sense. It's the small amount of water damage that would cause is nothing compared to if they let the fire get out of control for a few more seconds. Easter egg, a fire truck into block mining sim. There's probably an emoji character for that. That's when they were setting it up. So yeah, that was my excitement for the week. Did you guys do anything exciting? Did any of you get into any arguments and get called a misogynist? Set up a proton mail bridge in Mutt Mail Client. A mail bridge? What exactly is that? For several years, at least weekly. Oh, you mean getting called a misogynist? My folks went whale watching. Yeah, I've never been whale watching, but I can imagine it'd be kind of a surreal experience seeing an animal that's that huge. Yeah, I don't have any more content for tonight. I'll have to get I just kind of barely got this set up before the stream. I built a simple Android app learning Kotlin. Kotlin, that's a language, isn't it? Or is that a language or a framework? My mom loves them. Not my thing per se, but it was really amazing. Yes, it's foreshortened form of Java. Interesting. Check out how do you even say that? Svedal? If you haven't, kind of fun framework. My mom loves whales, not frameworks. Oh, that's too bad. So I'm at, let's see, when did I start? I was at about, I think I'm just coming up on an hour. I'll try to go to about an hour. Svetel is pronounced svelte. Svelte like melt, but SV instead of M. I'm working on starting up a toy company. Interesting. That sounds fun. What exactly is involved in actually starting a toy company? Because I imagine there's a lot of stuff you could do. Like when you make a toy, if it's like a plastic toy, there's like the injection mold fabrication, but then you could also be doing like the design of the toy. And then I guess there's also like, board games and stuff. You have to test for feasibility, marketability, and play testing. Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense from a business perspective. Just start with like what you can sell and make money on, and then work backwards. Interesting. Any particular focus of toys? Like any STEM toys? I've often thought that would be like the new way of funding things. If I wanted to start some like crazy research project and fund it myself, I'd probably start like a toy company first, and then sell like small models of like sophisticated engineering things, and then just try to get some cash flow on that, and then use the free cash flow to do actual research. It's an untapped market, so I'd rather not share. That's probably a wise idea. Mark Rober has a great set of lab boxes for kids. Crunch Labs. Do I have any hot takes on Yocto? I don't even know what that is. That's in real-time operating system. I have no knowledge of it, so I can't do any hot takes. Is it for what specific purpose is it designed for? Is it just general purpose? Yocto is like an embedded Linux builder thing. Yeah, I've never worked with it. No strong opinions either way. So we're making custom RTOS OS for application-specific uses. Interesting. Yeah, most of my RTOS experience has been like academic. I've done built a couple of microkernels for some courses, and then I actually built one. I had one of them, and I ported my my own like minimal real-time operating system to a small STM board for a course that I taught at a college down the street. There is free RTOS. That seems dope for that. Yeah, I've never. I guess most of the things that I need done are like, I either use like I need a fairly general purpose OS, like like a desktop, or like sometimes a Raspberry Pi will do, but then occasionally I find whenever I need anything more minimal than that, I'm using like an Arduino or something. If I'm doing something like very close to analog, I have not. I can understand why, like if you're building a business out of something, if you're building a product for a business, but I guess a lot of my stuff has been like more academic and like hobby stuff. So that's why I've never ventured into serious embedded OS development. It's interesting. It almost seems like my viewers are finally going up now that I'm getting closer to the end of the stream. It seems like YouTube must use the first hour or something of your stream to figure out who to send it to after that. Embedded programming is challenging, and you have to have domain knowledge of the entire process register structure that you're working with. Yeah, I mean, it's very challenging. It's not even just that, but you also usually in embedded, you're also doing like you're interacting with the analog thing, which is kind of why you're doing embedded in the first place. So you need to know the physics of the analog device you're talking to. Does anyone remember Delphi? I think I tried to use Delphi like way back when it was like one of the first programming language I tried to learn back on Windows, and I remember trying to use like compiler tools and stuff back then, and I would click some exe, and then a terminal window would open in Flash, and then it would go away, and I was like, oh, I guess it didn't work. I didn't know that I had to like actually go to a command prompt and then run the tool. That was before I like really even understood the existence of command line tools. I was told to join the stream by the AI. Yeah, that's how it works, I guess. I think there's probably like a large number of people who are like candidates for coming into the stream, but then YouTube just kind of gatekeeps them and sends them in one at a time. Many people have an idea someone markets before they can get funding and marketing going. Don't trust anyone who advertises, by the way. Yeah, it's probably, well, especially if people are like advertising how to get rich. Way back in 97, back when I thought I was a programmer, writing elite Mark scripts. Sometimes I refresh to see what YouTube is trying to tell me. Yeah, YouTube figures out a lot about you. You can guess what it thinks about you by reading those recommendation tabs along the top. I think I have one of my other analytics videos. I have one of those where like I think it's actually on my my main channel that I post this stuff. It thinks I'm Lana Del Rey is like one of the top things that I'm interested in for some reason. And I don't think I've ever even listened to one of her songs on this channel. Are there any shells that let you edit the command line like it's a text editor? I know that there is a way to you can like edit your current command with like the Vim hotkeys. I think read line is one of the like, I don't know if it's a library or it's the component that like controls your like your cursor context. The I think it's called the line discipline. Like you can just click and highlight and change your cursor position that way. I know in Vim there's a mode for that. Actually, it's on. It seems to come pre-installed on Raspberry Pi all the time, and I always disable it. Maybe me wanting that means I'm the problem. I don't know. I guess they put that on a Raspberry Pi for a reason. I guess probably younger people especially find that more intuitive. From what I understand, actual young people these days have a lot of trouble using computers. Like they expect everything to be like touch interactive. Have you seen Hackers? I presume so. If not, I think I saw it like a long time ago. Yeah, I've definitely seen it at least once, like long time ago. But it's a cultural classic, so I'm regularly reminded of it through references. Many businesses who offer services know that it's a tough market, and the good ones have a backlog, so you don't see them advertising, especially. Yeah, and also advertising is a lot more targeted now. So like, you probably only see something if you're very likely to actually buy it and convert. What do you think of the future of software engineering? Will be in the face of these coding AIs? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's one of those things I could drone on for hours about, but having used ChatGPT and stuff, it can get you for problems that have been solved, like merge sort, that's been solved like the easiest case of merge sort. It can do those problems well, but I find anything where you need to go like to a larger context window, it starts to get really poor performing. And then it actually has it produces code that has negative value because it'll give you a complex solution that with subtle bugs in it. And then to find those last little bugs, it's easier to write it from scratch sometimes. That was one thing about growing up in the 80s, 90s. Had to figure it out along the way. I remember writing Minicom script to get my dial-up going, or waiting 3 hours for an MP3 CD to burn. Wow, 3 hours. Yeah, I remember burning a few CDs back in the day, and then also sometimes it would just fail and ruin the disk. If the AIs are trained by the average developer, might be in trouble. Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of bad code with mistakes in it out there, and it's all that's being fed into the training. I spent over 3 hours learning SEO today. I know what I'm doing. Don't need your peanut gallery comments. SEO is getting it used to be just around keyword stuffing tricks, but it's getting more you have to think much more higher order, or how humans think, because of course that's what the algorithm is chasing. Have you heard of Pearl Diver? I guess I don't have a notepad there. Yeah, I'll just remember it. Pearl Diver. Yeah, starting a business is there's lots of good advice to be had about not if you have lots of money to invest, be very careful with it and spend it very, very sparingly. It's very easy to burn a hole in your pocket and waste a lot of money very quickly on things that end up don't contributing to your bottom line. But I think what you said about testing market stuff, that's and focusing on what the customer wants and working backwards, I think, and focusing on what is sellable and profitable first, that's a good place to start. Pearl Diver sells a service that uses data gathered from a tracking pixel on website. They can create a CRM from people visiting your site. Yeah, I guess that's most social media platforms have they'll have their own pixel. There's the Facebook pixel and LinkedIn pixel and stuff. And I guess the challenge is really to get your audience first. Get your data source. And once you have that, then you can put any of the pixels on, and they'll train you some kind of a audience set from that. Do you trust OpenAI? No, actually, no, not at all. Sam Altman seems like a really sketchy guy. He's always up to something. He's one of those conspiring for world domination people. Pearl Diver gives you data about the name, phone number, email. So you just use a pixel on a site, and it can get an email and phone number. That sounds like it's one of those privacy violating types of things. in a lot of cases, I think that some of the biggest value of like, if you have an email, like if you're actually using the email list, having an email where you have consent to have that email makes the email more valuable. Because if like when I get emails, I get like 10 emails a day from people that are just like spamming me, and I like sometimes I'll even like report them as spam and block them. But if I actually subscribed explicitly to something because I wanted to see it, then I'm like a million times more likely to open it and actually interact. But another way to people use emails is like for like user disambiguation and stuff like that. So if you want to like track someone's pathway, like up to a conversion event or something. So if you're starting with web activity and you want to correlate that with the sale, but of course all that becomes only valuable when you have quite a bit of that data. Tracking pixels for email too. Does that violate any privacy regulations or laws? I'm sure it does in Europe. Only if you don't include the cookies except pop-up. Yeah, that whole accept cookies is such a farce. It's just like every site has that now. It's almost like pointless, and they always try to manipulate or guilt trip you into clicking it. Well, I think I might call it a night tonight. This was, of course, a very, very different stream, but I'm going to kind of collect my thoughts a bit this week, and not sure about the next stream. I'll definitely still do another stream next week, but I may try and I gotta change up the content style, experiment with some new stuff. So we'll see for next week. It's like the 800 page says software agreements. Yeah. Make good use of our random nonsense. Oh, you mean that like random chats? Yeah, they're interesting topics to talk about. So anyway, I'll call it a night there. See you guys next week.